Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Welcome to the, what do we call this, the bridge episode of DeathPiles and Taxes.
I love can build a bridge, my friend, the Judds.
This is going to be the episode when and if the baby comes to the family here in the next, we're not quite sure.
That's definitely going to happen. There's three things that are for certain, Adam: DeathPiles, and taxes, and you're going to have a baby at some point this month.
That is true. So we don't know exactly what day, and we are consistent to a T, so we better throw in a little something something. That way, if it happens to be on a night, we're going to have some podcast for that week.
Adam was afraid I was replacing him. It can't be done. So we're just going to make him work a little extra, burn that midnight oil.
And we are burning that midnight oil. So a couple of things we want to get into the eBay seller update. That's going to be a little part of it. You want to dive right into that, D-Roy?
Yeah, let's just break it down. Something we've been talking about forever. A couple times a year. It used to be about every quarter, but now it's 2 or 3 times a year. They'll do an update, spring seller update, summer, sometimes winter, fall. Depends on how they're feeling, and it's always a new administration, so to speak. We've got new CEOs in town, so it's nothing really major, but there's some kind of interesting things that to point out. So why don't you just go down some of the topics, and we'll just go over them kind of briefly.
Updates on how you list different category items.
So that's always good when they broaden because sometimes you'll try to list something, and I don't think we've ever talked a whole lot about that. So this is maybe some good things. When you're putting your item into classifications, you want that classification to be as close to your item as possible. Sometimes I'll put an item and it'll come up with just some random generic, has nothing to do with it, and you have to go. So this is just giving you more options. Adam, grab the magic card. What's on your card, Adam? The people need to hear it.
I'm going to talk about this because this is a great point as you get into the nuts and bolts. That's what this is going to be, very nuts and bolts related. As you get your store up and going and you look at different things, sometimes if you don't meet all of those classifications, then your posting basically gets kind of held up in limbo, and there aren't a lot of people that can see it. So that's where, and I had a bunch of those. I didn't even know that I had a bunch of them. I had like 7 of them that didn't hit all of the classifications of the gender specifics and those kind of things. So somehow I was looking at something and I found, I'm like, oh, well, no wonder those items aren't selling. So one of the things that we've really honed in on and found as you're listing your items, there's kind of an order that you should be going down. You
Yes,
should
sir.
really look at the most important thing that people look for as a brand. That's usually what they're searching for. They're searching for a certain brand of an item. That's the first one. Then they always look for like the gender related to it, whether it's a men's or women's or a unisex or whatever.
And that's where I'd say, even if it is unisex, pick a gender. It doesn't matter, but not a lot of people, if I'm looking for a shirt, I don't care if it's a big woman or not. I'm going to be looking for a man's shirt. If you're a bigger woman, you don't care if it fits me or not. You're going to be looking for a woman's shirt. So just pick one and roll with it. That's my opinion. Not a lot of people are going to do the item specific and look for unisex in the search. So
The next one would be size, which is again vitally important. Color, and then the other would be kind of like as you have a theme. Like we went back to the Arizona Cardinal sweatshirt that I had that sold because I
did sell.
I told you that a while ago.
Oh man, I must not have been listening to you. Oh, congratulations! That was been the it worked.
Yeah, we got that bad boy sold.
Well, good deal.
So I guess getting into that, like this is finding things, but that's just kind of one of those things is knowing how you list the things are just as important as what you list, because you have to make sure that you're like Randy said, you got to keep that cart full.
Yes, that wagon cannot be empty if you're selling them goods.
And you got to make sure people know that you're selling, Nike Arizona Cardinals medium red sweatshirts. They got to know what you have, and if it just says sweatshirt, like you're not going to find the right person who's going to dial into what they're looking for.
And from what we've learned, that's the way to put it on eBay. That's the list. So you want to do it in that order, not just specifically those items in any order. You want to go down the list of what Adam just went with.
Your brand, gender, size, color, and theme.
That's how they've done this research and the studies. That's how people are typing it in and what they're looking for. So for best results, do it in that order.
And they're also bringing up some newer categories, which is really nice. These will be what's happening in May, and I really kind of like this. One's business and industrial, which I like that. That's going to be a good category for me.
Oh, yeah.
Watches, they talked about that in the past. Same thing with home and garden, and then sporting goods. Those are always interesting to me.
Well, that's good, and there's a big breakdown in some of those. Like you have a Rolex watch, or you got the old Timex. So there's a lot of divisions in there. You probably need some, different variations.
The briefcase Tijuana Rolex.
Yeah, we go back, listen to Tijuana Rolex in the archives, folks. It's there.
So that's kind of their, just again making us know about the category changes. That's always a big one.
And it's expanding it out. So if you are in those categories, maybe go look at your listings and make sure they're listed right. That's just something to go little homework, little cleanup.
Get into the Terapeak a little bit more. Your photo editing. There's lots.
So that's really cool. So let me hit this real fast.
Ooh.
They spark something there. So if you haven't updated your eBay app, it's still kind of rolling out. But once you take a picture, there's going to be a button that you can push that will make the white background appear with your object. So I recommend that for your first picture. Maybe not so much the additional ones, but you're going to want to utilize that because with the white background, you're going to be Google eligible. So why they're doing this is so that you will show up higher and better in Google rankings. Whatever reason, Google Shopping wants that white clear background. So you're taking a picture of this case here.
I was going to try and sell you on the internet.
Me. You're taking a picture of me.
Yes.
You want to see me so you know what you're buying. So you take a picture, you got, coats, you got chairs and stuff behind us. This will clean all that up and just show the item, which would be me. And you'll make a lot more money because people can see what I have and they can find me on Google. So you're going to want to utilize that, at least for your first listing picture. I'd say use that, and hopefully your sales go up. Terapeak's getting integrated with your Seller Hub. So if you go to Seller Hub, you can use the Terapeak options. We've talked about that in the past. It's basically just a bonus tool to help you find things, find keywords, so on, so on, so on. Go explore with it.
Nuts and bolts.
It is a lot of nuts and bolts, but go play with Terapeak because you're paying for it.
Here's the thing. I mean, we like, talking about the bicycle, riding the bicycle, but unless you service the bicycle, you're going to be going like 70 miles an hour down the freeway and it's going to break.
Or sometimes your chain comes off and you have to put it back on if you don't know how to do that. Grease the wheels.
These aren't the, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to list. You got to be able to sell, or you're just a hoarder.
Yeah, so I mean, this is nuts and bolts, but that's what the people need.
Big one. We're always talking shipping. There's always changes with shipping.
Shipping, okay, yeah.
Shipping.
We are always talking shipping.
Yes. There's lots of ship going around in here. Talking about packages going international with the buyers, your FedEx 2-day rate. I don't know how you've showed me how I'm pretty straightforward. I mean, we still even have an older, scale that we just put it on there and I print it off. People think that it's this super complex, uber hard thing to do. It's super easy.
I mean, you can get out in the weeds if you want to get down to, your flat rate boxes or your priority A, B box. I mean, you can get as deep as you want to get with it. But yeah, it's super easy for beginning. Some people prefer FedEx or UPS. Those are all your options, right? So basically what we'd say is get a scale, put your stuff in a box, basically get the weight that it's going to be to ship, and put your right dimensions, your right weight. And yeah, shipping's always going to be evolving. Prices are always going to be fluctuating. That's just the name of the game. The good thing is there is competition with shipping. So you do have the post office, FedEx, and UPS kind of going at each other and keeping each other somewhat in check on prices. What I always say is have a cheap option. If you want to do a free option, go ahead and do that. Have your cheaper option, have an expensive option, then have an overnight option. So if somebody buys your stuff, you'd be surprised what people want overnighted sometimes. If they're willing to pay it, get it to them overnight. If not, they don't care when it comes. You have the slow option, the first one, so if you're not doing the free shipping, it shows up in the pricing and you don't look like you're charging an arm and a leg.
Phenomenal thing just happened. I would love it when you talk shipping. There was this really cool video that I saw and I meant to share. I just put it out on the DeathPile and Taxes Facebook page. This lady had this box, like she couldn't fit this item into it. She's trying to put it in. She basically cuts down the middle and it squeezes the box and it makes the box longer, and she was able to put the item in and she used the same box.
Frankenstein your boxes, people. If you go, I mean, there's, like we say, there's somebody for everything.
It wasn't even Frankenstein. Like there was no other box.
She altered it, right? She figured it out.
The one box. You know, like, I've seen Frankenstein boxes where you got to bring in other boxes and you tape them.
Yeah, she just made some cuts and
cut down the middle.
She's the surgeon.
That's where I was going. You cut
Oh,
those.
sorry.
Which, did you get any feedback from Suzanne about me calling her the mortician?
I didn't, but she laughed, so there you go.
All right, I was a little worried about that.
I was, when you said, hey, do you have a nickname? And there's that little pause. And then, no. Yeah. You know.
You know she enjoyed the interview. If she didn't, she sure made it seem like she did.
She's an actress, so maybe, good actress.
We'll have to ask Jean. Well, maybe we'll have Jean on next time and ask how Suzanne was.
Well, maybe we'll have, we'll get Jean in here, or maybe we'll ask if she'll come back here in a year or so, and if she's not willing to come back, we'll know.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. So back to shipping.
Yeah.
Shipping, again, it's one of those things, you just have to know it. It's a part of the game. It's a part of the process. It's just like when people come in, they pay me, I have to charge whenever they pay me electronically, I have to pay a fee because it's just a part of the game. You can't get out of shipping.
And the good part is, like eBay, everyone does it a little different. They run their business a little different. You'll figure out what works for you with shipping, and as long as your stuff's getting there, not damaged, you're not going to have any problems. So just figure out how you do it. You can look online and see how other people do it. You can listen to how me and Adam do it. Just get out there, experiment, and learn for yourself how you do it, and go from there. So.
And as soon as I told you there's no way to get out of shipping, I just remembered how to get out of shipping. You sell locally.
Okay, yeah, that's true. And that's why some of my bigger, heavier items, I just do local pickup only, or I'll put them on, Craigslist, local classifieds, or Facebook, and come pick it up.
That's, some of those things you won't be able to sell or ship a long time and make any money, but when we're talking Angus MacGyver jackets, that bad boy's going to jail.
Well, an Angus MacGyver jacket's only going to weigh maybe 3 pounds maximum, right? If you're selling something that's bulky and heavy, unless the price is there, yes, you get the worldwide market, but, I mean, are they going to pay to ship it to wherever?
Is that why you haven't sold the Angus MacGyver, wax statue you have in your basement?
Oh, if I had that, it would be on eBay for sure. So, there's certain things that, I have like a Rick Majerus signed picture that's nice glass framed, and I'm like, how am I even going to ship this? But it can be done, it's just going to take a lot of extra work.
Have you talked to Phil about getting some of your stuff?
Yeah, we've had some good conversations.
I know we don't want to get too deep in the weeds about Phil, but man, he's a smart guy.
Good guy. He's wanting to put in some cards. Did I tell you that last time? I don't remember. I need to follow up with him.
Some cards in the PSA.
I've been doing some of my. So I've been doing some of these live things to try to get people rewarded for watching us, talk and support.
True.
I think I'm going to go to YouTube and try to do some on our YouTube channels. Sometimes I can just talk on forever. So I was talking a couple episodes back. Well, I guess we don't know how many episodes back about going to the dollar store and doing some sourcing. Well, do you know that you can buy basketball Panini stickers at the dollar store?
Shut the front door.
So I'm going to be doing some opening of those stickers to see if I can get me a Zion Williamson a rookie sticker.
Did you see what Phil pulled today?
I did not.
Zion rookie card that he had a sweater, and part of his sweater was a part of the card. Not a jersey, but the sweater.
There you go. So
People are thinking
takes all kinds. The other day he had some Star Wars signed something. Anyways, there's a million ways to do it, and just figure out what works best for you.
So the other parts it gets into are new offers to buyer enhancements.
Oh, see, that's why I'm glad you're reading through this stuff. So it used to be we like the sending offers to buyers, right?
Yes.
It used to be you could only send like 10 or 20. Now you can send like 400 or something. It went like crazy. So it went from just being able to send a few offers on a few things to you can send massive offers on lots of things. So I've had success with that. I've been going through a couple times a week and just sending out offers, and
Ask you about that.
and things are selling. So, and that's the nice thing is you can kind of put your price out there. If you've been on the other side, it gives you a nice little email of like, hey, Derek's selling this item right now for $19, but he sent this offer to, 5 other watchers or whatever. So it gives them that oh crap, I really wanted this. He's giving a couple bucks off. I'm just going to go and buy it, is the idea.
I love that idea. That offers you. Again, it's all about getting more sales.
So that's that's pretty much the spring seller update, right? Do we got anything else going on there?
I will get into one thing down here. This is updates to how to manage your financials. Your buddy, well, not your buddy, but somebody who was in the contest, the Bloomberg tax information.
In the contest? You mean in the presidential campaign? Okay, I didn't know where you were going. Okay,
Well, the contest.
That was a contest. It served from election to a contest.
Well, he spent so much money. It was like a fee. It was like he just
You can imagine somebody spending a lot of money to become president. Where did he ever get that idea?
like $750 million.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's got this
Who'd have thought
little,
that?
he's got this little website.
This little website. I see what you're doing.
It's a little website.
You're trolling, Adam. You're trolling.
It's this mini website.
Is it eBay related?
Yes. It
Okay.
is. It's called Bloomberg Tax.
Oh.
It's talking about how.
So how I'm kind of like the Dale Earnhardt you always say with the ice road trucking, and I'm kind of like a NASCAR professional driver. You and Mike Bloomberg are kind of the same business. You're kind of the same profession.
Correct.
Okay.
I like how you just compared me to Mini Mike. The Bloomberg Tax. It talks about Amazon sellers hit by huge back tax bills across the country.
Okay.
So many vendors say they didn't think that they had to collect and remit taxes.
We've talked about this.
Remote sellers topic before House of Small Business Subcommittee hearings. This one hits pretty local, man. This one hits pretty hard. It's a public article, so I'm going to read the public name. Steve Jensen of Logan, Utah, just up the ways,
Just up the road from us.
thought he had a good business selling books through Amazon.com. Then he got hit with a $200,000 tax bill from the state of Washington, alleging he had failed to collect and remit sales tax from customers dating back to 2011.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's in the old pocketbooks.
It was a rude awakening for Jensen, who, like many other Amazon sellers, said he wasn't even aware that he was supposed to collect the tax and this in the first place. Now he's paying off the bill at $2,500 a month and threatens his business. Sales tax is not a joke.
Steve, you're up the road. Give Adam Beasley at AdamUpAccounting.com a call, and maybe he can keep you out of that situation next time.
There's so many different things you are selling online, and you need to understand what your responsibilities are.
I was looking at my GoDaddy bookkeeping, and I need to come in here and do my taxes with you. They had some weird thing where they were giving a credit for taking sales tax, but then they were minusing the credit. So at the end of the year, it looked like I only had $9 of sales tax collected.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just goofy, and people aren't even sure how to show it and do it. And it's one of those things that, we're not used to. It's not that we didn't know that we had to do it, it just wasn't being enforced, right? So
Correct.
now states are saying, hey, there's money, and there's been money for years that we're missing out on, trying to go back on people. We talked about when Adam was up at the eBay meeting, and Philadelphia or Pennsylvania warehouse that some guy was getting charged, kind of the same kind of deal of how are we supposed to do this. You have Nexus here. It's just a mess. So it'll all work itself out, but yeah, you gotta pay your taxes.
You gotta pay your taxes, and collecting sales tax is a part of the game. It's definitely cleaned up, and they're trying to make it bigger. I mean, these are congressional laws. Like, these are the big boys meeting at congressional hearings about Wayfair, about Amazon. So you own a business, and it is your responsibility to understand what you should and should not be doing. In a brief, I guess now so I can get into ask your accountant. I am your accountant, and here's the problem. every single state is different, and the rules that were applied to 2019 are different than what they are in 2020. So in any of those restricted areas, you need to find out what your responsibilities are. Here where we live, responsibilities are, if I'm selling an item to someone else in the same state in which I reside, I should be collecting sales tax on that item and filing a sales tax report either once a quarter or once a year. That's how it is in the state that we live in. Comprendo?
Gotcha.
Amigo.
Gotcha.
Here's one of those other aspects, because we always say, getting out of taxes. What can I legally or not legally do? That's the enforceable part, because that runs through your eBay account, your PayPal account. If you're selling to somebody like a garage sale or through a Facebook marketplace, the rules on that are so vague and unknowing that if you are selling the same item to somebody in Utah in a parking lot at the Maverick,
Never happens.
whether that should or should not be charged sales tax is a very questionable area.
Well, I mean, it should be. Whether or not that's going to happen is a whole different thing, right?
Correct.
So if you go to a gas station in your local area and just sit there for a couple hours, you're probably going to see some transactions, which used to just mean that guy was dealing drugs. But now you can see all sorts of things people are buying and selling on the internet and meeting up at, mainly public places.
So that area is so complex, and apparently, Steve Jensen and Logan got hit with a hammer because he's obviously doing a lot of dollars, and that's usually what is going to happen is, again, I talked about it when we were at the eBay office up in Utah and Draper. You have to understand that the IRS has algorithms. Derek, do you know what an algorithm is?
I set off all sorts of algorithms.
Not an aneurysm, an algorithm.
I have an algorithm.
But where I'm going with this is, if you bring in a $200,000 and you pay $0 in taxes, Uncle Sammy ain't buying that, because that's a bad business. If you're bringing in, $100,000 and you're saying you made nothing, that's still not a great business model. There are some circumstances, but you have to understand they look at that, and there's certain things that are triggered. They look at, well, your percentages of cost of goods sold should be this. Your mileages should be within this range. Your meals and entertainment should be within a certain threshold. And when you go over those, that's when you get triggered for an audit. So you have to look at it when you're filing your taxes. Is this plausible?
Well, I'm guessing with Steve too, with Amazon, they are based out of Washington, so you might have Washington state rules.
Correct.
Also, a lot of times they'll have you send things in, so you're doing the fulfilled by Amazon. Wherever you're sending that in, if they're having you send your books to Washington, you're accountable for Washington state rules. So even during those times, maybe Utah didn't have the rule or it wasn't being enforced or whatever. Well, guess what? It's in Washington. You're selling out of Washington. You're with their rules at that point.
It's now that's that nexus rule is do you have presence in the state? And if you're doing what Amazon, which eBay has talked about, but they haven't quite got there yet, if you have your stuff and you ship it to their fulfillment center, then that is now your nexus. Those are your items. And now, because I live in Utah, but I'm selling books for Amazon and they are shipped to Washington, I now essentially run my business out of Washington also.
As far as the government's concerned, you own a piece of that warehouse, and that's your property in Washington selling. So, or wherever. So you need to know where you're sending your items to, and with that, you need to know what the tax rules are in that place.
And we could go all night. This is just so much fun. eBay seller updates, talk till I'm blue in the face, but we gotta go have a baby.
Hey, I think you already did. If you're hearing this, congratulations, Adam.
I hope that's the truth.
I mean, if not, I don't know what's going on.
It's like Bizarro World. The time has just gone on and backwards and forwards, and who knows what time it really is.
It might be leap year Christmas. I'm still pushing it.
Well, it's because there's two things. Well, today there's three things that are certain.
DeathPiles.
But what happens before you get a death pile? You have to be born.
Oh, Oh, such is life.
The beginning circle of the death pile,
You're born, you will die.
and you will pay taxes.